Very close.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. It's, so that one says 6:28, mine says 6:30, so whatever Brad wants to write down.
6:30.
Yeah. Our first item, well, roll call, we're all here, so we got a full quorum, members. First item is board members representing for Lisa. Go to talk. Lisa, you want to move up to the table?
My posse's coming, hold on. They're just slowly moving up here.
Posse, they
My
got
posse's coming.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read that?
So what I'm asking for is a temporary use permit to bring my little mare up here, who's pretty ill, and she needs daily attention. And I want to put her on over an acre of land, which is at Randy Kowski's house. And her waste will be transported back to Ohio City to a garden down there. What am I forgetting, honey?
What?
What am I forgetting?
Forgetting?
I need glasses.
Oh, let me read it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just read it. To the zoning board, I would like to bring my horse up temporarily for summer months. She will be over at Rand McCaskey's out of the way. People don't really associate Rand's property as part of the town. Rand's property is on 1 acre and the manure is going to Ohio City. Ginger, my horse, has a condition that requires medication daily. Randy's property butts up to Forest Service. My closest neighbor is Susie Messler, and she said there was not a problem as far as she was concerned. Thank you for your time, Lisa.
Thank you.
Okay, any other
Yeah, the
comments?
horses are also classified under Colorado statute as pets. They're not classified as livestock. So, like pets like dogs and cats. And
that's so they can't be, like...
they can't be
raised to
slaughtered.
eaten.
It's Lisa's
Oh,
turn,
sorry.
so we're...
Sorry.
thank you.
That's right. So, I can't think of anything else.
Okay, anyone on the board? Rand, you said no?
I mean, my lot's totally surrounded by city streets and stuff. It shouldn't bother anybody. It's big enough. It's actually more than an acre and a half over there.
Okay, Bill, do you have
Yeah, well, I didn't see, I guess unless Steve is telling us we have to make a decision on it, I didn't see where this would actually fall under the zoning board's jurisdiction.
Well, I thought it was a temporary, oh, am I allowed to speak?
well, not at this time.
Okay, sorry.
But
Well, under temporary uses, it says the Board of Trustees can issue a permit. Page 10, section 9.
okay.
And I know we call everything in this town a variance, but typically, the book only calls a variance something that has to do with property and building and septic,
That's,
setback issues.
Okay.
stop it.
Let me read on page, well, I won't give you a page number, but in the zoning book under definitions, it lists agriculture. It says the raising of or domicile of horses, cattle, pigs, sheep, goats, llamas, mules, burros, or other quadrupeds, whether associated with agriculture or personal use. Now that's the definition that's in the zoning book. Then under section 4, description of districts, there's a and a B and a C, and A is resident, B is business, and C, there should be no agriculture district within the town of Pitkin where agriculture is performed. So that's, basically that's all it says about it in the zoning book. So is Dave, did you have any comment? Or?
I'm still just searching for it.
Well,
Can I say something while we're waiting for Dave?
yeah, go ahead. You're just,
I went to you first to ask if we came to the zoning board, and you told me no, go to Steve. So we waited till last month's meeting, and I went to Steve, and Steve said no, go to the zoning board. So it's been bounced back and forth, and this horse can't wait for another month.
yeah. And understand that really, that's not the issue right now. So it's at the zoning board
Yeah.
at this time. And of course, as you know, you can appeal whatever the decision is. If you like, you can certainly appeal. The mayor's here, you can even tell him to put it on the agenda for the next meeting. So, you know, that's always an option. And that's one reason the attorney suggested that we maybe go ahead with it, because he didn't have a really good reason to or not to. And
Can I speak as the mayor here in a minute when you're done?
yes, you can.
Okay, Steve Pinkston, 313 State Street. The reason I sent it to the zoning board is, one, you said something at the last town meeting, that's another month. And I thought this might be faster. Plus, if for some reason you don't get it here, you've got an appeal at the town board. As I understand it, if you go straight to the town board and you don't get it, there's no appeal. So that was my thinking on it.
Okay, thank you. Brad, did you have any comments that you wanted to make?
I just want to clarify, Lisa, who I think is behind me.
Yeah.
How long do you want to keep this horse here?
I'm gonna bring her May 1st and probably bring her out August-ish.
August-ish?
Yeah.
How about the 15th?
Okay,
Can you put a date on it?
15th.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah, 3 months, roughly.
What's wrong with the horse?
She has sarcoids and she has feet problems. So her bones are, she has to have corrective feet, and her skin has sarcoids, which is a bacterial. Can you show them the picture?
I see.
yeah.
That's quite contagious with other horses, so it's advantageous to separate her out.
Right.
I have horses. I don't know if you know. but
I do. I do.
My only issue is everything that's gone down in the town. And I'm just gonna,
Okay,
by saying that it says horses.
Right. I respect that, but as far as impact is concerned, it's a completely different issue.
Yeah. I wouldn't argue that at all. I truly wouldn't.
Yeah. So there's no comparison.
I would vanish to say if she was already there, no one would even know.
I know, but I don't want to do that. I'd like to be respectful and not go that route. You know, so.
Okay, Ramon, did you have?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's, I guess to start with, to consider it as temporary, I see two things wrong with it. One is it's not our purview, temporary's to the board, and second is temporary is defined as 2 weeks, or up to 2 weeks. And this, we're talking 3.5 months. And then to consider it as a variance, I tend to agree with Phil that the variance is written for variance of a physical structure, things like setback, size, etc. And it really doesn't address a variance, giving a variance for a use, which is what this is a use of the property, not building something on it. So it just, I don't see where it's our purview to, you know, I don't see that the zoning board has the authority to approve the request.
Okay, is there any other comment from the board? Rand?
Is the issue at Ohio City that this horse is sick and needs to be quarantined?
No.
No, that wouldn't.
No, just needs medicine twice a day.
Okay.
Found out there's expensive stuff so you can buy, or you can put Crest on it.
Or you can put crest.
Rest Tuesday.
Is the horse still gonna have this condition after it goes home for the winter?
No,
How long do you estimate it's gonna take to correct this condition?
3 months. Should do it. I've already had surgery on her. That didn't work. I've done everything I can. She needs continual medication.
What about the property that you have on 3rd Street?
I will not put her there because of the dogs in town will go after her. And I refuse getting up with a dead horse. Because I know that's what will happen.
Real dogs will take down a horse?
Oh, they'll run it through the fences.
Oh, okay. I don't know anything about horses. They're big. That's all.
They don't bite though.
Some of them do.
Some do.
Yeah.
I got an ex that'll hear it.
Yeah. So they'll come after you or your other horses.
Yeah, I've been bit by horses.
Yeah.
Bite them back.
Bite them back.
Okay, any other question for Lisa or the board?
No, I agree with Ramon.
Yeah,
It's not, so it's not a zoning board issue,
okay.
which I can respect that.
I think our authority covers it.
Okay.
So let's, we'll go ahead and open it up then for public comments pertaining to this, if there's any. That somebody,
I have a question about the property on 3rd Street that Rand owns. Couldn't he put up a fence around the property to keep dogs away?
Best thing to do be a 12 gauge and just shoot the dogs.
No.
That's about the only- it's the only way you can protect the horse, killing
I'm trying
animals.
to find a,
No.
you know,
There's too many dogs running around town.
Too many
for a
dogs
horse.
running around.
I guess I don't even know where your property is.
Cross
I'm
March.
Paul's room, I've had dogs.
Cross the March
Yeah,
Road.
dogs are-
Harold's place on
Oh,
3rd
okay.
Street.
Okay.
yeah. 30
My
miles.
daughter kept her horse
So that's-
12 years ago.
Okay, is that,
I'll just say, as I believe Dave said, that horse could have been there for a month and none of us have probably known. I know horses, we have horses, they're very expensive, and I think anything we could do to help her, I think I think it should be allowed. It's not gonna affect anyone in this room, I don't believe. So I think we should let her keep her horse down there.
okay, Susan?
I know that probably I'm the closest neighbor, pretty far away from that property, and I don't have any problem with it. I'm sure that Rand wouldn't allow, the horse poo to be piling up and getting smelly, because he lives there, he and Lisa live there, so, I'm not concerned about it at all myself, just to verify that. I meant to write a letter and I did not get it done today.
Okay.
I really think that if there's a conflict between the local ordinance and the state law, and the state law is defining a horse as a pet, maybe at some point the ordinance needs to be looked at and amended or revised, because I really feel badly for Lisa, and I don't think that the horse should get caught up in this red tape. If this board can make a decision today, they should, because I wouldn't want to see her have a dead horse because we have to wait and postpone and have another look at this at the next town meeting. I think it should be decided today.
Thank you.
they just said it's not under their jurisdiction.
Send,
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
She's not gonna quit caring for a horse because it's down the valley.
No. Go ahead.
no, is there anyone else that thinks?
Steve Kingston, 313 State Street. I would rather live next door to somebody that's got a house than somebody who's got a dog. A horse than somebody who's got a dog, especially a hound dog. Because, and like Rand points out, yeah, we got a lot of dogs running loose in this town. I'm not a horse person, but I've been around horses. I've never known them to cause a problem. And where Rand is, I don't think anybody will ever even hardly see it. So I think it's kind of silly to even be talking about it, but I know that we have to. So that's my 2 cents for it.
Someone else? And
I was here when that law was passed, and I know why it was passed, because we had someone who was rude to everyone in town, staked their horses, a whole herd of horses, right over across from the hotel, and let them go on town. We had to immediately pass the rules to try to, stop we asked him to put them up, no cooperation. So that's why we have a law. It was a herd of horses. I was raising pigs at the time, and once the law passed, we got rid of our rabbits and our pigs and everything else and cooperated with the town.
okay, thank you. I can,
This might be an odd question. Is there any way the town council can hold a special meeting for one issue?
Cost money.
yeah, for about $300 you can do that. Dave?
I'll just go back to say that, it does say the raising horses, cattle, pig. That's what it says. And then it does say in the temporary use that the application is by the board of trustees, which just goes back to what Phil said. I'm all in agreement personally that I'd love to allow the horse. I could throw that out as a motion, but I don't think in the end that it's truly up to us. And then given the whole surrounding issues with everything that we're still dealing with, I think the last thing we need is for somebody to say, yeah, okay, let's just do it, without doing the due diligence and going through some channels.
Can I say something else? I think it's worth $300 to call a special meeting. Because I don't want to see her horse die. Her horse is very sick.
Yes.
Just a comment. She's already been bounced around. So the special meeting is actually just to say.
Yeah. Well, you don't need a special meeting if it goes to the town board.
Well, it could have gone to the town board last month.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I mean, you
She
told
was
me you went to town
rejected.
board, I went to Steve, Steve got ahold of you, you said no. Zoning board, so it's been nobody knowing what they're doing.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What other options besides bringing it home have been looked into? Obviously, you looked at your property across from Harold,
Yeah.
and the dogs were the issue. Have you talked to Tara Marks?
Dogs will bother her down there. She wants it where she can watch it. Is why. There's too many dogs running loose in town now.
Is that in there?
And there's boarding costs and several other, it just financially gets worse and worse. Or if it was on their property, she could do that without the boarding costs and all that as well.
Let's make up a medical emergency plan till the next meeting.
Okay. We'll go back to the board now then. Is there any other additional considerations or you wanna vote to approve this request or deny this request or not hear it because it isn't
I
germane
don't
to
think
this?
it's ours to vote on.
We're in a box.
We're in a box.
Yes.
Okay, and there's clubs in any way we go here. We will be criticized no matter what we decide.
Yeah, you have to stand up someday.
It isn't lack of empathy for her.
No,
problem.
it's not. I need everyone to I own horses since I was.
Yeah, let's talk to, it's the
Yeah.
board's time. We did have public comments. So, yeah, if you want to go ahead.
No, I'm concurring. It's not a lack of empathy thing at all here.
No.
I don't think we can vote on something that doesn't fall under.
Well, I got a question. What did you tell Steve when I had Steve call you that the zoning board would deal with it?
Well,
Because I already went to you and you said, no, it's town. So I went to Steve and then Steve went to you and you said, no, it's zoning board. So it's been kind of beat around the bush a little bit. And I'll tell you, I'm about ready to resign as building inspector and then I'll just put the horse there and you guys can deal with it. I mean, I'm getting tired of it. I've been shoved 3 different places to try to get this horse up here in over a month. We finally thought we were doing it right and now we're not doing it right again because the town doesn't know what they're doing. And I don't think it's fair. I mean, how do you even enforce these rules if you don't know them?
Well, it's a question, Rand, of,
This is the third time we've been changed around. Went to you, went to Steve, back to you. Now we're gonna go back to Steve. That's called jerking somebody's chain in my book.
we have to make a decision.
I'll make a decision. The horse is coming up here at the end of the week. If you guys can't make up your mind what you want us to do, so we're gonna do it until you can make up your mind and see what we're gonna do.
Well, we were trying to make up our mind.
Yeah, put it off to the town board. Well, that's been done twice already. I went to Steve last meeting so the horse could come up here now. And they said, no, you're gonna do it. Now you guys are saying no, town council's gonna do it. You need to make up your minds. Or I'll make it up for you. I'll just bring her up here. What are you gonna do to me? Like you do to everybody else with their dogs running around town and the kids racing around underage?
Well,
I'm getting fed up with it.
well, I think we've heard your opinion, so
What the aspect I would like to know is that taking it to your home is the last resolution and the only thing you can
The
do.
best thing to do so we
It
can keep an
didn't
eye
say-
on her.
I didn't say the
Okay, it's the
best.
last resolution, because if a dog touches that horse, I will shoot it. And over there, nobody can watch it. I'm already gonna go talk to Don and tell him if a dog comes near it, shoot it for me. And it's totally legal.
It's totally legal.
What?
It's completely legal.
Yep. It's completely legal to shoot a dog that is chasing horses and stuff.
but that's not the issue that we're at here, as to whether something's legal.
The question I have is this, if this thing was cared in a barn, right, that didn't have to have, no dogs can get in, is that an acceptable solution?
Is there a barn here we can put it in?
Well, these are some of the things I'd like to have answered before I have to say, throw all the zoning away.
Well, there's no barn I can put her in up here, or Lisa can put her in up here.
I know, but could the barn be somewhere else? Does it have to be on
She
your?
can't afford to drive somewhere twice a day
Okay.
to doctor it.
I can't do that.
I know a little bit about
I
caring
can't-
for horses,
We're
and
not,
she'd have to live with the horse in a barn.
I'm gonna have to ask you to not interact
I'm
with the board.
sorry.
This is time for
This-
the board to react.
This is, that's what I'm trying to figure out, man.
It's the only cost-effective way to do it. She can't afford to drive back and forth to Isle City twice a day. She lost her job over a bigger issue we're gonna deal with.
Okay. You
Okay.
want to vote to?
Can I throw something on the table?
Sure. That's-
What if the temporary is 14 days, right? Temporary,
Right.
okay. If we were to come back here, I don't think we changed it from the old code. Do we have the authority to allow the 14 days?
I think we do.
Okay. I move a motion to
Just-
allow.
Before you do,
Okay.
where do you think we do? Because my understanding was that temporary uses are to be approved by the Board of Trustees. Not the
Well, then I will rephrase my motion. Okay. How many days till the next board meeting?
On the 12th, so
12. How
2
many
weeks
days?
from tomorrow. Right, 2 weeks from tomorrow.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
15 days.
Yeah.
Okay. What if we make a motion to allow them to bring the horse up here for 2 weeks until they can present at the town trustee meeting.
That
I'm
sounds,
totally okay with
that
that.
sounds.
You okay with that?
I'm completely okay with it.
All right. You okay, Phil?
I don't think it's something we need to vote on.
Well, it's,
I understand, I just,
We
we can take a vote, but
Yeah, we've got to resolve it, and,
and I have a lot of empathy for Rand being bounced back and forth. All right? But it's generally been thought, and it goes back a long time to what Ann said. I talked to Patty Barr, who had some remembrance of this, and yes, this has been around since the 80s that we have not allowed horses. And I don't want a stream of sick horses, coming into town June 1st and have to stay till the end of August. I don't think that's right. But for this case, I would like to see if we consider a motion to let him doing it until we can get to the town meeting. I think that would be fair. I don't say it's absolutely
right.
to the letter of what we have to work with, but I think it's fair.
Okay,
Thank you.
does anybody object to,
No, I'm complete in agreement. I agree.
Ramon, do you?
Well, I don't think we have that authority,
Yeah.
frankly. I think that the zoning ordinance, which is what creates this board, says what we have the authority to do, and I don't think we have the authority to grant a temporary use that's contrary to the ordinance, just because there's a problem with meeting dates. I think that you told Rand what you should have to start with, that it ended up back here anyhow. I don't consider that that's either your fault or the board, or the zoning board. It's just what it is. But I just, I'm not gonna say, I think that Brad can make any motion he wishes to make.
Sure you can.
But, my feeling is that we don't have the authority to grant that use, temporary or otherwise.
And I will
Well-
agree. Go ahead.
I would just say, as far as that, Ramon, it for us, and we're just gonna call a little blanket here. It doesn't say. It just says any use in a zoning district which is temporary in nature. It doesn't specify in the definitions whether that be us or the board.
No, but read.
No, I understand where it says temporary uses for the board,
Yeah.
and I do understand where it says horses.
Yeah.
But I think
Well-
for the happy medium of a small town that we can say,
Yeah.
we can give you the 14, and then,
But I'm not arguing what a temporary use is.
Right.
I'm saying that whether it's a temporary use or not, it's not something that we have been given the authority. Our authority comes from the board.
right.
And it's what's here. And I don't see that this gives us the authority to do what's being asked for.
Well,
That's
no,
all.
you and I we're gonna agree to disagree
Well,
because,
yeah.
well, I'm just saying, because of the nature of that we're a town of 60 full-time residents in the situation. I think we have a little bit of blanket authority, and it's just a happy medium. It's not passing the buck. They've done due diligence, went to the town, went back to here.
It's in there.
I think this is the best we can do for you. To keep everything friendly and civil on the street, and then we're gonna literally throw it in their court.
Now, I also remember when we rewrote the code, and James is looking for it, but the board does have the authority to do what it needs to do to process the code. That's into.
To write what rules.
Yes, okay, all right. And it's under that I will make this motion.
Yeah, it's not just coming to me.
Yeah, but I remember
I know
it's in here. Because that's what allows us to do those appendixes in the back. And that's why we put it right.
The Board of Zoning Adjustment shall have the power to interpret this code as necessary to conduct business. Yeah, and then there was on the code, on the procedures. It's on the previous page. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I know I'm gonna stretch that to
Here,
its other end.
the Board of Zoning Adjustment is empowered to adopt any rules and regulations which it deems necessary to transact business or to expedite its functions, provided said rules and regulations are consistent with the provisions of this code. That's what you're referring to, right?
And I know I'm gonna stretch that to its other end in doing this.
Yeah. Okay, so at this time, if you're agreed, we'll vote as to, the motion is to allow Rand and Lisa to have 14 days to
Order their horse.
order their horse or stable their horse, how you want to put it. And then it will be referred to the town board of trustees, which will make a final decision, which is their purpose. They're the, does that agree with,
I completely agree.
let's just,
And they
I
still
mean,
have
does
the
that
right
sound,
to.
if that's the motion, then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so
Abstain.
I'll go aye. So it'll be a 3-2. Okay?
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
review. Okay. All right, our next item is item 2, and it is to discuss a variance and a building permit, and I guess Phil, you're going to represent the Gerbers, sort of.
You don't have to.
Well,
What do you do? They talk to me about it. Are you gonna build it?
I
I
can
may
say,
be working on it.
what the Gerber's property is 622.
Dave Campbell's old property.
Yeah, but
Easy way to say
Yeah,
it.
622 State Street, and
All right, it works out.
622 State Street has a pretty large shop garage on the back of the property, back on the alley, and they would like to put a deck, a balcony, excuse me, wrong word. They would like to put a balcony on the back of that building so that they can enjoy the afternoons and watch the creek go by, and just kind of a nice nice place to be. And then they also would like to, there's 2 parts to this. The second part is they would like to put an addition on the down creek side as a carport.
Can we bust this into 2 pieces?
Yeah, I don't think the
Two.
carport needs to be part of
It's
it.
a
That's
carport.
right.
Why is the carport? It's
Yeah.
No,
not,
I know.
that garage is making
Okay.
setbacks.
Why don't we just give them a,
They can get a permit for the carport. It's just
I
a
know.
deck.
yeah,
Okay?
so we could issue that today.
Yeah. It's just, they want to put a little deck up there to sit and watch the creek and
I'm a little confused a bit about what they want to do on the back. Is there a walkway underneath the deck?
They want to put a stairway going up to the deck.
Oh, that's a stairway from,
Yeah, basically, by code, they can put a 3-foot stairway
Okay.
to a 3-foot deck.
hey.
so
How
the
high,
deck's only
how high
3 foot wide.
this-
No, they want to go 8 feet, which puts it right on the property line.
What they said they put it back to 7. It says 7.
Well, they want to start at 8,
That's gonna be.
and if you guys whittle it down to 3, that's what they get. So,
Well, how high is this deck? I
Second
thought
story.
like 10 feet.
10 feet. Are we gonna make an entrance out of the second story to go to it?
Yes, they want doors.
And will it have 4 posts?
I haven't They just handed this to me.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're not looking at the
Okay.
permit, we're looking at.
Here's the issue. I went down there today, and I think I found the corner of one of the lots. It's got a pin and a flag on it. Okay, and there's a bunch of willows back there. Okay. So, there's two issues here. One is with the Corps of Engineers and all those stinking willows in that wetland area there.
If they were to put posts in.
Yeah, now, so, if you set back from them willows 3 feet, set a post, and cantilever this,
Yeah.
beefed it up to cantilever.
Well, I told them that's pretty much what they
So
have to
you
do.
don't have to get down by them willows. Okay, I think, you can get around the Corps of Engineers. Or you can just ask them up front, because they're easier to deal with up front than on the back end. But I think if you stayed away like that, you wouldn't get near those willows. And if you're careful building that.
I looked at it too, and I think that, I don't think the willows are a problem sitting on the property, which they have to do. It's that the setback is, would setback from the property line 5 feet is what they're requesting. But I don't, there are no willows behind the barn. It looks to me like the fill that was done there, that already covered up the willows, and it pretty much looked like it goes to the property line.
It goes
so-
really close.
Yeah.
Okay. So, to me, the only issue we got is the alley. And the issue with the alley is it's 2 feet down from their property line. It's in the floodplain of the creek. Town would never use it. So, I don't, personally, I don't see any problem going to within a foot, 6 inches of the property line.
And when that rule was actually made, it was pretty much for fire. We're not taking a fire truck up there.
No.
No, it's also for utilities, there is a utility pole already sitting back there in the alley.
Yeah, yeah. There
It's
is.
above ground.
And we're about, I almost guess at 25 feet from the water.
I think even more, 40 to 50
30
feet.
could be.
But if it ever flooded, it'd come.
Oh, it's gonna come right up to it.
It's gonna come up to their, it's gonna cover the alley and come right up to their property.
Yes, it is.
No, Ramon will divert it upstream to get it away from them.
Well, But,
Be out there saying,
Oh,
Well, so what this is missing, I realized, is consent from adjacent property owners. I mean, they didn't,
Well, the bad part about what the zoning says, it says you may get or shall get permission. It doesn't say you have.
it kind of says it's optional.
And it's not the adjacent landowner, it's the town, because it's the alley. And I think that's more.
See, where they want the setback is with the town. And a 5-foot setback.
So you don't
plow-
consider the people across the creek,
Plow the alley.
rivets and,
Well, we could, but they're 20 feet higher than them. They're gonna get to look at the nude sunbathing.
The Kellys and the Rivets. Rivets
Oh,
really aren't.
But,
Yes,
we could require them to go aspect. And, normally we do, but I don't, as a town, I wouldn't have an issue with the alley. And I guess legally, the people behind them own on the other side of the, what is that, a 10-foot alley?
50.
It's
15.
15. And so the creek's on the other, well, it's on the Kelly's property.
It's on Kelly's property.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with the alley setback
Yeah.
because it's,
Okay.
it's typically an unused alley. The
Right.
only problem I have from my own experience living in the same type of property is the structural aspect of it, and as long as that's safe, because, putting poles into the fill, which is on top of the, on top of the creek bottom, I know will move. Unless you bury a concrete pillar a long ways, that just doesn't work. I see it go up and down every year. So that's the only concern I have, and it's just a structural thing that needs to be dealt with when it's the final design is done.
You could get into a lot of expense. Like I said, if you set 4 poles that go all the way down to bedrock, I mean, you're
Yeah,
just, that's not.
Yeah, I'm not pushing for this actually,
I know
but
you're not.
their whole garage thing, I think, is sitting on.
It's floating.
Yeah.
It's floating
It's on
anyway.
pads, it's floating.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. It's a good thing because it can move as a unit.
Jack it up.
Yeah, so it's not really fastened, it's a floating building.
But I don't have a problem with the request, which is the setback.
Right. I would like to see them contact the Corps of Engineers before we issue a permit. But what I'm hearing is that the board doesn't have any problem with issuing a permit.
If they can put the piers out of the wetlands, does the Corps have to be involved?
Well, where does the Corps define the wetland beginning and end?
It's a stream.
And that's-
Certain bushes, and there's no bushes there.
Well,
Willows, some kind of grass.
Your negotiating strength is a lot better up
Yeah.
front than after the fact.
yeah.
So,
With a variance, you can ask anything you want. You
Well-
can ask them to get a hold of the Corps, you can ask them to get a hold of Kelly.
well, I think Phil's right. We probably ought to have them try to contact the Kellys, see if they have any problem with it. Okay, Phil is right there.
It's a shocker.
And we might advise them, you probably ought to call the Corps, because they're easier to deal with up front than after the fact.
But anything on the stream, and the Corps' been involved in properties before, so.
Down at Frank's,
Yeah,
the
I
Corps
hate
gave
to-
permission for the deck post. and everything.
But they gave permission.
We were.
Okay, is there any comment from the public pertaining to this request? Anyone? No one? Okay. Well, then back to the board. You will vote to approve this contingent upon they contacting the Corps of Engineers before our permit's issued.
I think the neighbor.
And the neighbor.
I don't know if I
And
would go as far.
Kelly,
Consent-
can we put it down to Sixth Street then?
Consent of the neighbor.
Yeah, other.
Well,
but
I don't,
know about the Corps.
If-
There's a house down over the bank.
If it's gonna be contingent
That one's
on
right.
contacting the neighbor, we shouldn't approve it. You're giving the neighbor a veto, which they don't have.
Right.
Yeah, good
By
point.
doing that.
Good point.
So, I mean, we can table it and ask that they contact the neighbor before we consider it, but if we're gonna vote on it, I don't think that should be
I
it.
think that's a good point.
That's a very good
Very
point.
good.
So why don't we just,
All right, let's just vote on whether or not we'll grant the variance within the setback for them to build their balcony, and then the permit will be coming later when they're ready, because it didn't.
But you want them to get a hold of Army Corps
And
before the permits
and
issue.
the Corps, yeah, right. Do we have that
Well,
down,
well-
Friday?
I'm real confused, okay? Not new, it
Okay.
happens. Okay. Are they gonna contact the neighbors?
No.
No. Okay. So, we're gonna approve the variance as written, as
Yeah.
requested.
Yeah.
Any way to build it without going to the ground?
Yeah, the braces.
I'm just saying, if you didn't do that, then they don't even need to contact the Corps. I'm not saying you, but I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, I thought about that. You could debrace it.
Yeah.
Debrace out to a beam.
Then they don't have to
I
contact the
mean-
Corps.
They'd be better off not getting hold of the Corps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Takes a lot longer.
they might make them move their shit.
They might make them move the house. Maybe they did to Joel down here just recently.
Well, that's a possibility.
I just,
If it's the same lady that's coming out of Grand Junction, she's a pretty nice person and will work with you. The guy that was there before didn't want to work with you.
No, Randy that was there was great.
So,
Got killed.
okay, want to repeat the.
Okay. Approve the variance as requested with 1 foot setback to the rear alley for the proposed deck.
Balcony.
They call it a deck in the application.
Well,
They call it a deck. We'll call it
It's
deck.
a deck, it's a raised deck.
Deck.
Second story deck.
Bow.
Second story.
Approve the variance as requested with a 1 foot setback to the rear alley for the proposed deck balcony.
Okay,
That way it would float with the building.
okay.
Well, be better than putting it in piers, might rip it loose in the village.
Yeah,
well, just as we're talking down here, ignoring all your great advice,
yeah.
you could put if needed, because if it floats back into the house and doesn't even go to the ground, they wouldn't need to contact court.
I'm not saying that for them to contact
Okay.
the court.
Yeah, he didn't include that.
Okay.
Is that what we want to include? I'm just writing it down.
I think as long as they're not digging in the willows.
Well,
Well, I'm just saying, as long as they're not, we can debate this forever. If they're not tying into the ground at all and floating back in the house, or
It's just
busting in
floating.
and cantilever,
yeah.
they're not, then they would never even have to. I thought we were gonna make them contact the Corps. I was just trying
Well-
to give them some kind of option out.
I thought we were gonna make them contact the neighbor, at least get his input, and then we would vote on this once we have it,
That's the option, is to not,
to table it.
yeah, to not do it now and have them
I don't think they're
make the
very.
contact
They're not in a
first.
hurry. Well, maybe we could table it, have a real good conversation with them, and maybe get this rewritten a bit. Why would we do that?
It's fine with me. Is that,
It's not prime nude sunbathe weather.
Not, okay. Temperature's not warm enough yet?
okay.
Okay.
Do we want to vote to table this?
So we want to table it?
Yes, we do.
Do we want, and we want to contact them, right? Somebody to call and talk to them a bit,
Okay.
help them, coach them a little. Agree with that, Phil?
Yes.
Ramon?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay,
Also,
So all those in favor?
Also, move to table it.
Second.
Okay.
all right. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Ayes have it.
You can contact them.
You got a phone number?
Yeah.
You don't need to give it to me now, but I'll make an attempt to talk to him, because I met him the other night at the town meeting.
The other night.
I don't know.
Bullshit.
Meeting's adjourned at 7:17.